Okay, first you've edited and exported 2 photographs, at least, from Adobe Lightroom onto your iPad. Now you're going to go into Adobe Sketch and choose the largest canvas you can. Import each photograph by going to the plus symbol and choosing Add Image Layer. Okay, and then you're going to find one of the photographs that you'd like to import into Adobe Sketch. And in this area here, you see that I'm enlarging the photo to fill the canvas. Now the canvas is not the same proportion as the photograph, so part of the photo is being cropped off on that left side. Now I'm going to add another photograph. In this case, I'm choosing one of the blur images. It's good to combine a kind of realistic photograph with a blur image, though we can layer multiple blurred images on top of each other as well. Okay, so resizing and repositioning, we can always reposition those layers at any time. Now if I tap on a layer and I go to blend mode, I can change how one layer sits on top of another. This is kind of a Photoshop function that is also in Adobe Sketch. And depending on which of those blend modes I choose, it changes the way that top layer interacts with my lower layers. So this is just an experimental process. You have to try the different options, see what looks the best in your opinion, and go with that. Once we've got this set up the way we like it, maybe we're done, and we can export that image by going to the Share button and choosing Share Image, and that's going to allow us to export it back to our camera roll as the newly edited image. And so here you can see I've got that image, and if I wanted to edit more, I could do that back in Lightroom or in another app. Another thing we can do in Adobe Sketch is add painted layers. So here you can see I've added a yellow painted layer. I want to show you how I went about doing that. Okay. And so we'll start by hiding that layer, and we'll start with a brand new blank layer. I'm using the square marquee tool here. It's a selection tool that allows me to paint around the edge of that square shape. You don't have to use this tool, but I'm using it for this demonstration. Now I'm going to select a color. There are a lot of different brushes in Adobe Sketch that you might want to explore. I'm just using the marker brush here. You can see that as I paint, it's only allowing me to paint along the outer edge of this square and then just slightly inside of the square. I get rid of that square selection, and now I'm going to go ahead and roughly paint the outside area. And I'm choosing to allow my brush strokes to be really loose and sketchy. If I don't like something that I've done, I can always hit the back arrow and undo it. Okay, and remember this is all on separate layers, so at any time I can delete a layer, manipulate just that layer. This kind of takes you back to your digital imaging work where we use separate layers so that we had full editing control. So I'm keeping this one loose and sketchy just as a stylistic choice. And now I'm going to take the eraser and go through and create some kind of polka dot patterns by using that circular eraser to begin removing some of the paint. Again, this is purely stylistic and is just something to create kind of a secondary pattern as I'm editing this image. All experimental here, just trying to see what effect it creates. Once again, I'm going to change the blend mode, and now that I'm dealing with different color, I want to see what that outcome looks like. So change the opacity there, but I really like playing with the blend because it keeps the saturation of the color. And I think it's helpful to go through all like 10 choices that we have just to see what the possibilities are. Okay. I kind of liked what the multiply did, so I'm going to come back to that. Okay, and maybe settle on screen. So I've moved my yellow layer so it's on top, and I did that just by tapping, holding, and dragging the layer. And now I'm changing the blending mode of the yellow layer. Again, I have to experiment a little bit here because I'm not sure how to predict what the outcomes will look like. And once I get to a place that I like how the image looks, I'm going to choose to export that back to my camera roll. And now I can see where I began and and kind of how I've changed and altered that image. So let's see here, I'll work my way back to the first image. All right, so here's what it looked like originally. And okay, you can see the evolution of that image.